We are back! That's right, we are back! This is the Race and Ethnic Relations on Campus podcast show. This is show number 8. I am Dr. B. Welcome back, everybody! Oh my gosh. And this show, the title of this show, I'm going to get this right. I finally get this right. The title of this show is Send Her Back 2. Send Her Back number 2. This is show number 2 of Send Her Back. Last show on show number 7, I titled Send Her Home. That was not the chant. I just somehow I missed it. I didn't even see it, but I missed the so-called the big chant Send Her Back. So this is Send Her Back 2. This is show number 8 of Race and Ethnic Relations on Campus podcast show. So here you go. Wow, we are back. I want to thank everyone for responding to my last podcast show, show number 7, and it was wow. It just took me by surprise, and I think it took the country by surprise. But it's so interesting that how everyone responded, and I had to at least try to get as much information as possible in a very, very hectic week. And I did the best I can in putting that show together. But it was again something that I felt I needed to respond to, because I am basically moving and supporting as much as possible positive race relations on campus, positive race relations in our country. And when things are not positive, I feel compelled to respond. And of course, the basis of these shows relates to my book, Race and Ethnic Relations on Campus, Understanding Empowerment and Solutions for College Students. Came out in 2018. It is, wow, it's everywhere. It's a hot topic. It's selling everywhere, and yet I cover the basis of positive race relations. I also cover the basis of negative race relations issues, and believe me, that the incidents that happened on July 17th, unfortunately, here in Greenville, North Carolina, at East Carolina University, you just have to spell it out. And so let me just stop right here. Let me do a little housework right now. Thank you for everyone who have been listening and subscribing to Race and Ethnic Relations on Campus podcast show. We can be heard on Apple Podcasts. That's right. On Spotify, on Podbean, on YouTube, and now we have a special platform, another platform. iHeartRadio picked us up. That's right. iHeartRadio has picked up our Race and Ethnic Relations on Campus podcast show. So thank you. A little shout out to iHeartRadio. We're getting out there as best way we can. And again, my name is Dr. B. And I just try to be as straightforward as possible and use this as a teaching platform. This is not a shouting match. This is not a podcast show where we shout at each other. No, I try to examine as much as of the facts as possible and try to bring folks together of all different walks of faith, all different backgrounds, racial and ethnic backgrounds, to bring them together for positive solutions, positive understandings. Yet it is important, it's okay that we can debate issues in a professional manner, but when it gets personal, when it gets personal, that's where divisiveness happens. And another reason why I bring this up, just a reminder, I do this for my students, because again, I see this and I hear it every semester among my students. That's the reason why I wrote the book. That's the reason why I'm doing these podcast shows, to extend out to the larger audience. Because the students, they get false information, and now it looks like the general public we're getting false information, and it really made me sad. Now I'll just put it that sad that a couple of weeks ago. Now it's I'm recording this show on the 26th. Sad that we personalize politics, and it should, like I said in the last show, politics should not be personalized. It should be about policies. When you personalize things, even the president, that is wrong. And it is all politics. And but we have to respect people of who they are, of all walks of faith, all walks of life. And I just thought it was bad for that event to occur. And I want to break down some of the issues real fast. The "Send Her Back" chant at the rally in Greenville, North Carolina, and what happened. I'm just going to go to it right now. What happened? The backlash. I was trying to get as much information as possible. Again, I'm busy. I'm so busy during the summertime, and everything just stops when things like this happen, because I want to get more to the facts. And here's a quick article. It says, days after waving off the backlash, and they said, I'm just going to use this is from one of the online news outlets. They say President Trump said he did not agree with the "Send Her Back" chant that broke out during July 17th at his rally. Trump also claimed that he tried to stop the chant, despite the video showing otherwise. Quote, he said, "I was not happy with it. I disagree with it. I didn't say that they did." He said, it was quite a chant, and I felt a little bit badly about it. And again, so that's the response from our president a couple of days afterwards, I assume. And what, again, I just think was disgusting that the audience here in North Carolina chanted "Send her back" when they don't even know practically nothing at all about. That's right, Representative Ilhan Omar. Let me get this right, Ilhan Omar. And I'm going to go into a little bit more about her, because I don't know much about her. So I spent the past week and a half to learn about Representative Ilhan Omar. And I don't know if the general public knows much about her. And I like to make this as, again, like I say, a teachable moment. And walk all of us through, and particularly myself, find out more about this individual who unfortunately is the target of a rant of a party at that time, and against a person. So I'm 9 minutes in, and guess what I'm going to do? I looked up her. I went to online to find out as much as possible. Let me just give you some background on Representative Ilhan Omar. She was born October 4th, 1982. She is an American politician serving as the U.S. Representative for Minnesota's 5th Congressional District since 2019. The district includes all of the Minneapolis and some of its suburbs. Omar was elected to the Minnesota House of Representatives in 2016 on the Democratic Farmer Labor Party line. In 2018, she was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, marking a number of historic electoral firsts. She is the first Somali American. The first naturalized citizen from Africa, and the first non-white woman elected from Minnesota. and one of the first two Muslim women, along with Rashida Tlaib from Michigan, to serve in Congress. Did you hear that? She has a number of firsts. And I said in the last podcast show that she is a trailblazer. She is a phenomenal individual who have made it in our country. And unfortunately, during that rally, a lot of folks said to send her back. Do they know that she is the first Somalian American, the first to serve as U.S. House Representative, the first naturalized citizen from Africa, and the first non-white woman elected from Minnesota, and one of the first two Muslim women to serve in Congress? That's a lot of firsts. She is a trailblazer. Regardless of, guess what? Regardless of her policies, those are a lot of firsts. And she is well received by her Minnesota citizens. Think about that when you chant, send her back. Hello. And again, like I said, it unfortunately happened in Greenville. Unfortunately, it happened at East Carolina University. And I have no problems with the venue and the university holding the event with our president. Every public university has the right to bring in any speaker. Have no problems with that. But we should have an issue of when you know it's going to be volatile, you have to send a message out. You have to prepare and let people know that some things can occur after that. So step up next time and I'm saying ECU, brings other speakers to the campus, get out front of the message. But that's a quick first about Ilhan Omar. Now it's 13 minutes in, let me read a little bit more about her early life. Do you know about her, some of her early life and education? Now think about it. You're targeting your, I'm not going to say hate. I'll just say rant. I'm not going to say hate. I'm not going to say that. Your political rant to a person who has already established a number of firsts. Now this person, she is going to be one phenomenal person. I don't know her, but you just start reading about her early life. Ilhan Omar was born in Mogadishu, I'll get it out, Mogadishu on October 4th, 1982. I apologize for the pronunciation. And spent her early years in Somalia. She was the youngest of 7 siblings. Her father, Noor Omar Mohammed, an ethnic Somali, worked as a teacher trainer. Her mother, Faduma Hussein, died when Ilhan was 2 years of age. Her mother died when she was 2. Omar was raised by her father and grandfather thereafter. Her grandfather, Abukar, was the director of Somalia's National Marine Transport, and some of Omar's uncles and aunts also worked as civil servants and educators. So she comes from educators, hardworking, politically active family. She and her family fled Somalia to escape the war and spent 4 years in a refugee camp in Garissa County, Kenya, near the Somalian border. Shows he spent 4 years. Think about it, folks. 4 years. 4 years in a refugee camp. In Kenya. 4 years in a refugee camp. How many of you could have done that? 4 years in a refugee camp. Hello. Lost her mother at the age of 2. Being raised by her father and grandfather. After first arriving in New York in 1992, Omar's family finally secured asylum in the U.S. in 1995 and lived for a time in Arlington, Virginia. I know that area. I used to live in the Washington, D.C. area before moving to and settling in Minneapolis, where her father worked first as a... I want to make sure I get all this out before. Worked as a taxi driver and later for the post office. Her father and grandfather emphasized the importance of democracy during her upbringing. They were teaching her, enculturating her about democracy. And at the age of 14, she accompanied her grandfather to caucus meetings, serving as his interpreter. She has spoken about school bullying she endured during her time in Virginia. Hello. Stimulated by her distinctive Somali appearance and wearing her hijab, her head wrap. She recalls gum being pressed into her hijab, being pushed down the stairs, and physical taunts while she was changing for gym class. Omar remembers her father's reaction to these incidents. Quote, "They are doing something to you because they feel threatened in some way by your existence." Unquote. Omar became a U.S. citizen in 2000 when she was 17 years old. The final thing I'm going to mention here in the early year, Omar attended Edison High School and volunteered there as a student organizer. She graduated from North Dakota State University with a bachelor's degree, majoring in political science and international studies in 2011. Omar was a policy fellow at the University of Minnesota's Humphrey School of Public Affairs. Wow! What a journey already. What a journey already. Hello. What a journey already. Can you imagine being in a refugee camp for 4 years? Can you imagine being in a refugee camp for 4 years? My gosh. Just think about it. That's the reason I just been quiet. Just think about it. Just as her as a professional, as a individual, being raised and being natural, being told by her family, coming to America, coming to the United States. They're enculturating her, teaching her about democracy. They were very active in their own area, in their homeland. Very active. And yet, adapting, adjusting to American society. And she has to grow up fast because she has to translate, be the translator, interpreter for her father. When they arrived in the United States, arriving in New York in 1992, and finally securing asylum in 1995, and dealing with growing up in Arlington, Virginia. I know that area. It's not easy. It's a mixture of all different types of families, but it's not easy. You would think so. You would think it'd be, well, no, not, unfortunately, around Arlington, Virginia. And the bullying that she received in school. And it's very diverse there, by the way. It's extremely diverse. All different types of culture, all different types of populations. But still getting bullied because of her faith, because of her look, her dress, her rap, her hijab. Being bullied, being discriminated as a kid. And now as a just think about it. Now as a professional. Just think about it. All the challenges that she has already gone through as a kid. Now as a professional. Now as a U.S. representative for Minnesota's 5th Congressional District. You now, am I going to say, yes, I'm going, now you get bullied by people at a rally, and you get bullied. Oh my gosh. This just came to me. Bullied by our president. Wow. Just think about it. She's been bullied. And now, doing the right thing, becoming a U.S. representative. Yes, and I'll go through her policies. And yes, she's a progressive. They title her a progressive. I don't go into titles. She's vocal. She pushes the envelope. If you know where she comes from, you can understand why. But she fights for democracy. I don't know her policy. I don't know her stance. I'm going to go through it. But think about it. She's a number of first. And now, as a person who was elected by the people of Minnesota, now she is the brunt of people who don't understand what she represents, her background, only how others portray her. And that's unfortunate. Like I said, politics should not be personal. Go through a person's policies, their agenda, what they stand for, what issues, and what I'm doing right now, I'm going to go through all those issues. And by the way, yes, this is probably be another show on this topic, because again, it just makes me feel, when you start connecting things and when you actually slow down. And I encourage everyone listening to this show, slow down. Do your homework as well. Don't take everything I say for okay, that's what Dr. B said. No, do additional work, homework, research. That's what I do all the time. I get more information, more knowledge, so I don't have the wrong impression, opinion. And we're not going to have all the facts, but get as much of the facts as you can. So when I slow down, I recognize that this was not a moment in time that was really not good for the United States. Hello. Not good in politics. Not good in race and ethnic relations. Because this damages not just her, but every individual who's come from another country and become naturalized and become a part of the U.S. And now they have to think about how others think about them. Are they thinking? These other Americans thinking, are they thinking that they want to send me back home? Send me back? The millions of naturalized citizens, the millions of immigrants who have been naturalized, who have become U.S. citizens, they think about send her back too. So this has widespread ramifications, not just on Representative Ilhan Omar, but the millions of naturalized citizens of our country here in 2019 and beyond. How do they feel? Those are the ramifications. So think about your chant, whoever participated in that chant. Think about what the implications of that, the symbolism of that. So again, I'm learning about Ilhan Omar, what she has endured, what she represents, and now the policies are important. So I'm learning, but I just have to say a shout out and recognize her number of first Somali American in the House of Representatives, the first naturalized citizen from Africa in the U.S. House of Representatives, the first non-white woman elected from Minnesota in the House of Representatives, and the first of 2 Muslim women to serve in Congress. She has a lot of firsts. She has a bright future. She already has a challenging history, a bright history, but even a much brighter future now that her and several other very outspoken representatives are challenging, and they have the right. Just keep it as professional as possible, but they have the right. And again, that's how I feel. And again, this show is about bringing folks together. It's not divisiveness. That's wrong. We're not divisive society. We're not and Greenville, North Carolina is not a divisive town, city, small town, big town, small city, whatever. There's really good people here. There definitely are. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't. I've been in other places, and I loved every place. And yes, I still love it here. But I didn't like to see that and hear that. That was unfortunate. So again, this is Race and Ethnic Relations on Campus Podcast show number 8. Send her back, number 2. This is Dr. B. A shout out. If you want to listen to my shows, please subscribe to my podcast show. Thank you for listening on YouTube. Thank you for listening on Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, and now iHeartRadio. So thank you very much. Peace out, folks, and keep it real. Peace out. See ya.